Hey everyone, today I'm just doing a chilled out, real and honest chat with you guys about mental health. It is currently 10:30 at night and I just had the urge to talk and just be honest because I feel like with mental health you can't really, you know, jazz it up and like plan it out. You just got to talk. So today I'm going to be giving some advice as well about everything I've learned about anxiety in the last year specifically because I've experienced like new things that I've never come across before relating to my anxiety. And I think it got to a very heightened state this year specifically where I had new challenges to face, and I haven't done a video of like this in ages, and it used to be such a huge part of my channel, and I kind of get annoyed at myself that I didn't keep up talking and like, which I used to do so much, but then I kind of just shut off that kind of side for this year because it did become quite difficult, and there was like a prolonged period, about 5 months, where I've just experienced the most anxiety and stress about literally every aspect of my life. But now I'm in probably one of the best places I've been for years, which if I would have told myself a few months ago that that would be a thing, I would have not believed myself because, when you wake up every day feeling the same as the day before, that's just more proof and proof and evidence that it will be like that for the foreseeable future. The more you get evidence for something, the more you will believe it. And I just thought, during that period of time, I just thought this was going to I was always going to be this anxious and always be this stressed out, and it's just a part of me. But we're doing good now, so I'm able to talk to you guys and give advice about everything I've learned. So yeah, this video is for anyone who relates to it, finds some truth in my words for them. Everyone experiences things differently, so I might say something that doesn't relate, I might say something that relates so much. I will state that everyone is different, so something I might say might help me and other people, but it might not help you, so obviously just take what you can from my words. But yeah, let's just get into this. The first thing I want to talk about is the fact that a lot of the time throughout my life, I've just assumed that being anxious is going to be just the main part of my personality, and it's very easy to put yourself in a box and think, do you know what, like, I'm always going to be, for example, I'm kind of awkward, like that's a personality trait of mine, my awkwardness, which makes social situations harder. Well, from my point of view, makes them harder, so that is why I've got a lot of anxiety in social situations. So that awkwardness kind of creates that and breeds that anxiety. Sorry, my storage just died, but I've got it all back. I just had to delete every single thing in my recently deleted. Anyway, because I focus so hard on that awkwardness being like just something that I could never change, you just kind of go through life and just have to be like, oh, well, any time that I go and speak to someone will be the same as the time before because I'm just that type of person. Like, I can't hold a conversation. I had so many preconceptions of every single conversation, anything that I would do socially, because in my head I was like, I'm never going to be able to be like that person who goes over to people and talks to them and just starts conversations. That's never going to happen for me. So I've just got to accept that. But kind of putting myself in that box just makes it harder to actually push yourself to change. Not that I haven't changed myself in a way, I've just kind of tried to test that theory that I'm always going to not be able to do something, like just putting things to the test. And right now, and this is not something I've ever been able to say before, but I think I could talk to a stranger and not feel stressed about it. And it makes me emotional because it's like I've never felt like that in my life. But I think going to university is a huge part of why I'm more confident now. But we're going to steer away from that for now, just because people that might not relate to university or whatever, but it's something that I never expected to be able to do. And I always thought, I'm just going to be like this forever. But yeah, I'm still awkward, I still mess up conversations, and that is still a part of my personality that hasn't changed. the way I kind of think about it and my mindset towards it is slightly different. And the more you test something and see whether you could, you know, maybe, start a conversation with someone, or the more you can test that and see that maybe things aren't as bad as in your head, 9 times out of 10, things will go better than you expect. And I also think the biggest judgment in your life is yourself. I mean, this is such a silly example, but it's one I experience daily. When I'm doing my Wordle on my phone, I'm convinced that someone's judging me. Like, they're looking at I'm convinced, like, I'm on a bus, right? Public bus. Who can really see my phone? I don't know. But in my head, I'm performing. This is like a performance. I need to get this right. And if I do anything silly, there's going to be hundreds of people seeing this when there's not even that many people on the bus. But in my head, that's what I'm thinking. I'm doing this as a performance. Every single letter I write in, I'm doing that for like people to see. Even though they're not actually looking at my phone and caring, they couldn't care less. But to me, they care, and to me, they're watching. And I think when I do something a bit silly, I go, "Oh, you're so stupid." Like, they think that you're so stupid, Holly. But who is thinking that? Genuinely, there's no one who is thinking that. If I was to look around, I wouldn't see one person looking at my phone, and if I did, I'd kind of be more likely to judge them for staring at my phone. But like, at the end of the day, I think people can be judgmental and rude, and when you experience that, it's not great and it's kind of awkward. You are a huge judge of yourself. Like, we tend to just put into our own heads what we think other people are feeling about us. I mean, the amount of times I've said to myself, "Oh, someone's gonna think you like, there's definitely someone looking at your hair right now." And like, how would I know that? Because I don't know. If I'm walking through somewhere that, there's loads of strangers around me, one, I don't know what they're thinking, and even if they are staring at me, how do I know that's what they're thinking about? Two, I'll never know because I'm not going to go over and talk to them and ask them that, because why would I? And three, why does it matter? Because that person is just going to walk on past me. And like, that's obviously a situation where you don't know the people. For example, in a school setting, you do know the people, and people are a little bit more like rude and actually judgmental in a school setting. But I think like, you can't control what other people actually do and their actions and their words to you, but what you can control is how you talk to yourself. And it's very difficult, and you're going to slip up, and you're going to have times when you think about yourself in a negative light. There are going to be times, and the thing is how you cope with that and how you deal with that, and not actually let that take over, which is obviously easier said than done. But even if you just start by having this, say you've got a thought in your head where it's like, "Oh, people are going to think you're so stupid," just try and challenge it a little bit and think, but like, who? First of all, who is thinking that? And how is that going to impact me? Why does it matter? And I know, like, obviously, every single day, like, is going to be, you're going to either find things easier to move on from or harder, because we always, have different vulnerabilities and emotions each day. But yeah, that's my first thing that I've kind of learned. Another thing is that your environment can breed anxiety, which might sound obvious, I don't know. But my peak anxiety was when I least expected it. I have always been a homebody. I love my room. I love my house. I love being in here. It's my safe place. And I, obviously, when I finished my A-levels, I would have a longer summer. So from June to September, that is a long period of time. And I had thought about this for months, and I think it's going to be the best time of my life. I'm going to be just chilling in my bed, having the nicest time ever. Honestly, that being in my room, like, a lot of the time, I'm not going to, like, sugarcoat it. Like, I was spending too much time, laying in my bed, or, watching TV in the front room. Like, I was spending too much time inside, which made my ability, you know, when you just like go outside. Obviously when I was at sixth form, I was going out and doing things in my day, but not having a routine throughout that time off. I was constantly in my room. It did breed anxiety and made me over stressed about little things. And for example, because I didn't go out as much, when I did go out, it became more of a challenge. There was more things I was overthinking, because when you're not doing something constantly, it becomes like a change, something that you have to try and like overcome. And obviously change is hard anyway. If I'm constantly here and having to go outside, that's an unnecessary change that I've imposed upon myself. Environments such as like school, secondary school and sixth form really caused anxiety as well for me. And this is nothing like, you know, people experience things differently. And I actually think I enjoyed my time at sixth form specifically. I mean, there was times I enjoyed at secondary school, but definitely not as much as sixth form. I enjoyed my time at sixth form, but the lack of freedom, which obviously, you know, it's school, I guess they can't allow that. I don't know why, but the lack of freedom and just like, something about being at university now, I have never felt more in control of my life, and being able to just like, there's nothing like, at the end of the day, if I didn't want to do something, I didn't have to do it. There's no one bugging me to do it, and there's no one forcing me to do it, which just makes you kind of think, I have to do it for myself. This is all for me. But a lot of the time in secondary school specifically, you are feeling like you're doing things for other people, and also you're not in control of what is happening. So it does actually cause some sort of like feeling where it's like, I don't know why I'm doing this, and I'm not happy with this. And obviously like you do have to do your exams and whatever to like progress on to the next stage or whatever, but like, all I'm saying is, if you're in sixth form or in secondary school, college, whatever, wherever you are, and you are struggling, one day you will finish that, and you will get out of that place, and you will find new freedom, and you will have control. You know, I'm not gonna try and like be rude about school and stuff, because I think it is quite useful and it's a privilege to be able to be educated. But yeah, I think sometimes that environment can cause anxiety and stress. So carrying on with the idea of control, I feel like a lot of the time when I'm getting really anxious, I feel like I'm out of control of what I'm doing, and just like, it's overwhelming. And I feel like in life there's a lot of things which aren't just down to you. There's like many different factors going into things. So obviously there are external factors that aren't controllable. But what I've had to really focus on recently, and it's actually been quite good for my anxiety, is focus on what you can control. Because I'm going to just give you this example. So the other day, my bus was really late coming into uni, and I have to get two buses. So I have to get one from uni to the city centre, and then from the city centre home. So obviously getting that bus from uni to the city centre needs to be on time so I can get my next one. And it was really late this one day, whatever. Finally got on, but I was stressing out and getting really anxious about the fact I was probably going to miss the next bus to go home. But what I had to try and tell myself, and you know, it did take a lot of mental processing, especially when you're in a state of like panic and like stress, is that what can I control in this situation? I can't control how fast the bus is moving, when the bus is actually going to get to me because I was standing in the freezing cold. I can't control when the bus actually leaves. That's not in my control. So I can't try and make myself believe it is, that I can get somewhere faster. Like, I can't. That's not something that I should be focusing on. I should be focusing on what I can do. And what I could do in that moment was just literally nothing, because I was on a bus. Like, I had nothing I could do. The only thing that I could do was try and find things, you know, to compromise. And you know what? I found some good in it, which I always used to find it so silly when people would be like, find the positive in everything, because I was like, Guys, are we being for real? A positive in everything. Like, and it was so easy for me to let that situation ruin my evening because what the hell? I had to get a later bus. But at the end of the day, one, it's not that deep. I mean, it can be really annoying, especially as you've had like a long day. But also, I was able to go into the city centre and look around and look at the Christmas lights. Would I have done that if my bus was on time? No. Would I have got myself a chocolate bar? No. So there are, like, you can kind of make good out of bad things. And obviously, sometimes you're just not in the mood for that. And I completely understand. I completely get that. When I had that prolonged period of time when I was like constantly in my house, not feeling great, high anxiety, I would just be so pessimistic. Like I was not, nothing was right. Everything was wrong. Everything went wrong for me. I didn't want to do anything. I had low energy. Like I couldn't be bothered, to be honest. Like I was done. Whilst still with these thoughts where I was like, I need to feel like the main thing that overtook me was this overwhelming feeling that I should be feeling good right now because I've got so many months off from like doing anything. Like I have free time. Why do I feel so bad? And that feeling really just kind of put shame on me. And I feel like it's very important, like, if you're feeling something, feel it because even if it's like I know it can be difficult because emotions are hellish sometimes and not great. But trying to contradict a feeling that is inevitably going to happen just will add extra layers into things and make things more complicated and just kind of add more stress to an already stressful situation. Like the whole time I was off, I was telling myself, you need to be having fun. This is the best time of your life. But at the end of the day, I wasn't having fun. It was not the best time of my life, potentially one of the worst. And that thought just made me just really upset because I was like, why am I not having fun? And it was just something that I couldn't understand. Because also it was low energy and low mood. So it's like I didn't have control over that. My low energy, like, and it would frustrate me because I was like, I want to be doing things, but I can't be bothered. And I feel like emotions are difficult to understand because they're going on and they're causing different reactions from you that maybe don't even feel like you. Like, I was just being kind of rude, and that's not who I think I am, and it doesn't align with my idea of myself. Like we all have this kind of concept of who we are and what we are like, and then sometimes emotions can really just take apart that and just make you see yourself differently. But we are all human and we all will experience things to different degrees, and when you're going through a period of heightened stress, you are going to be a little bit maybe unbearable sometimes. Maybe people might comment on that who are close to you. They might think, actually, why are you being like that? Because they don't know what's going on either. But it's very difficult, especially when you don't know yourself, to be like, actually, like, you guys are being so mean and whatever, because at that point you are seeing yourself experience things differently, and emotions are just like they drive human behavior. And also a thing to definitely think about is that emotions are temporary. They can last for prolonged periods of times, but they will never be there forever. They come and they go, and I know it's difficult, especially if you experience them for so long, that it doesn't feel like it's ever going to change. But there can, like, if you think about it, like, say you like cut your leg and that hurts for the first day and then it continues to hurt and then slowly, like, it doesn't hurt as much, but it's still there, and it's still, you know, kind of impacting you and how you are, and, you know, it's bugging you because why have you cut your leg? Like, that's annoying. But then one day you will be at a place where you won't feel that. You won't even remember it. That was just a thing that happened. And, you know, or you might remember it, but it's just a scar on your leg that you look at, and you know that that's happened, but you don't feel that anymore. I'm not feeling the same emotions I did back a few months ago when things were real heightened. So yeah, things are temporary and things get better. Things get worse as well, but just gotta try and like push through and just see what could happen. And it is difficult, especially when you're experiencing negative emotions, because, you know, you can't, it's very, when you're experiencing like good emotions, you are, I mean, most of the time I always think when I'm experiencing something that's really great, I'm like, oh, I'm never going to feel this again, and get disappointed in the moment. But and because negative emotions kind of impact us on more of like a deeper level, and like, you know, hurt us more, we're more likely to think that's going to last forever than like a happier state. Because really, like, when you're feeling great and having a great time, are you thinking that's going to last forever? Most likely, like, I don't think that. Like, right now I'm pretty happy with life, but I'm kind of thinking one day I will probably not be feeling as good. But like, you just got to try and live. And I'm speaking to myself right now as well. Just live with, like, if you are feeling great, just allow it. Don't think about what could happen. Which is something I do all the time. I always think about the what ifs and the overthinking and everything. And I think it's very difficult when you're experiencing very like vulnerable and like heightened emotions to be able to do this. But if you are in a place where you can, a lot of the times I do have to prevent myself from thinking things, and it's very difficult, very, very hard. And specifically for me, I've always been pretty anxious, and I think around age 8, I was having like these existential crises where I'm thinking about like death, and like it was very much impacted me, and it would make me very emotional. And at that point, because I was so young and also not really ever experienced that level of anxiety before, I couldn't control that. But now, because I'm older, and 10 years later actually, that's actually really scaring me, because why am I 18 years old? But now, because it's I've experienced that for so long, I can kind of know when that is going to happen, and when I'm going to get stressed about that, and I literally say to myself over and over again. And even if you're doing something that feels silly, if it helps, do it, because I'm literally saying out loud, stop, stop, stop. I'm in my room by myself. But if that works, it works. So do whatever you need to do, and don't feel embarrassed about that. But yeah, I think I've yapped for too long, and I've also got to go to sleep soon. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If there's any questions that you have, anything you want to say, please feel free to comment. It is a safe place to do so, and I will answer every comment, hopefully. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!